The final words David Cassidy spoke before his death will move you deeply. In his last hours, the voice that once captured the hearts of millions as the Partridge Family's golden boy left behind a message so raw and heartbreaking, it shocked fans and loved ones alike. Lying in a Florida hospital bed, fading from liver and organ failure, Cassidy uttered a phrase that would resonate far beyond the walls of that room. This is the story of David Cassidy's final moments, a tale of dazzling fame, haunting regret, and one sentence that revealed the man behind the legend. The rise and fall of a teen idol. In the early 1970s, David Cassidy wasn't just famous, he was a cultural phenomenon. His face adorned lunchboxes, posters, and magazines, becoming a fixture in the lives of millions of teens. As Keith Partridge, the heartthrob of the Partridge Family, he enchanted viewers week after week, but his influence stretched well beyond the TV screen. Cassidy's music soared to the top of the charts, and he packed stadiums from New York to Tokyo, sparking frenzies of fan hysteria rivaling even Beatlemania. At the peak of his career, his fan club membership outnumbered those of Elvis Presley and the Beatles combined. But behind the dazzling spotlight, cracks began to show. Cassidy openly spoke about the heavy emotional price of fame, the gulf between his public persona and his true self. The suffocating machinery of celebrity weighed heavily on him. Fans swarmed him relentlessly, paparazzi chased him day and night. One infamous incident forced him to cancel a London concert after a tragic stampede left a young fan dead. That moment shattered him, deepening his disillusionment with the very fame that defined him. David Cassidy's name was synonymous with teenage heartthrob royalty during the 1970s. His golden curls, captivating smile, and unmistakable voice were staples in millions of households, thanks largely to the Partridge Family's massive success. Yet beneath the bright lights, a far more complicated story was unfolding, a story of inner turmoil, identity struggles, and emotional battles. Despite the overwhelming adoration, Cassidy was caught in the grip of relentless pressure. The constant gaze of the public left no room for mistakes or personal freedom. Interviews and biographies paint a portrait of a man lonely even in the roar of packed arenas and sold-out shows. Friends and family remembered him as both charming and fragile, often hiding his pain behind humor and bravado. His well-documented battles with addiction cast a long shadow over his life. Attempts to numb both physical and emotional pain sometimes led him down dangerous paths. His stints in rehab and candid reflections revealed the darker, often unseen side of celebrity, where the pressure to uphold an image breeds isolation instead of connection. Beyond the grip of addiction, there was a deeper, persistent ache, a yearning for a life that felt real and meaningful. David Cassidy longed for genuine connections, especially with his children and those closest to him, but complicated relationships often kept him at a distance. Those who knew him describe a man who, despite his fame, felt like a stranger in his own world. As the years went by, the frantic screams of teenage fans quieted, and glossy magazines moved on to the next new star. Cassidy struggled to shed the Keith Partridge image, even taking a bold step by posing nude for Rolling Stone in 1972 in a raw, revealing interview. But no matter how hard he tried, the world clung to the teen idol they had known. He later admitted that fame had become his prison. Financial troubles, failed marriages, and addiction crept in like shadows. What started as casual drinking spiraled into full-blown alcoholism. By 2015, Cassidy faced bankruptcy, overwhelmed by mounting debts and shrinking income. Multiple DUI arrests followed, each chipping away at the once untouchable image of the golden boy. By 2017, David Cassidy was no longer a headline, he had become a cautionary tale. Idolized by millions, he now existed mostly in the rearview mirror of pop culture. But behind closed doors, something darker was unfolding. His body was failing, and he knew it. In his final years, Cassidy drifted through public appearances, his behavior growing more erratic as his health declined. Then, in February 2017, a viral video from a concert in Agoura Hills, California, shocked fans worldwide. At 66, Cassidy appeared confused, forgetting lyrics, slurring words, stumbling on stage. The sight was heartbreaking, the explanation that followed stunned even more. Cassidy revealed he was battling dementia, the same disease that had claimed his mother, Evelyn Ward. Sympathy poured in. Many believed this explained his erratic behavior and struggles with substance abuse. Yet, months later, a darker truth surfaced. In an unreleased documentary titled David Cassidy, The Last Session, filmed during his final months, Cassidy made a confession that shook even his closest friends. "I did this to myself, to cover up the sadness and emptiness," he said. "The fact is that I lied about my drinking. It's time to tell everything. It wasn't dementia, it was alcohol." Cassidy had deliberately misled the public to shield himself from judgment and soften the blow of a harsher reality: relapse, decline, and deep regret. His health wasn't failing because of genetics, but from years of alcohol abuse. Medical records later revealed he was battling liver disease and multiple organ failure by late 2017. David Cassidy had reportedly been in and out of hospitals, battling fatigue, pain, and a thick mental fog, classic signs of hepatic failure. Yet the public facade held firm, right up until it couldn't anymore. In November 2017, just before Thanksgiving, Cassidy collapsed at his Florida home and was rushed to a hospital in Fort Lauderdale. Doctors ran tests that revealed a grim reality: both his liver and kidneys were failing. Without a liver transplant, survival was unlikely. But by then, his body was too weak, too far gone for surgery. In those final days, Cassidy's condition worsened as his body began shutting down. Those close to him say he became deeply introspective. Though often sedated, he experienced moments of clarity. Nurses described him as kind, calm, and surprisingly aware. Family and friends gathered quietly at his bedside. Some sought closure, others simply wanted to witness the last chapter of a life once lived so openly. What no one realized at the time, and what only came to light days later, was that David Cassidy had one final message: 4 simple words that would echo far beyond the cold hospital walls, touching millions. Those words would come to define everything that had come before. In the stillness of November 21, 2017, surrounded by the soft hum of machines and the gentle murmur of hospital staff, David Cassidy spoke his last words. Revealed days later by his daughter, Katie Cassidy, on Twitter, those 4 words carried a weight far greater than their simplicity: "I'm proud of you." Shortly after, he added something else: "So much wasted time." At first glance, these phrases might seem modest, almost routine. But for those who knew the troubled star, they were deeply moving. A last breath of hope, a final embrace from a man who had spent decades battling demons both in public and in private. Katie Cassidy, an accomplished actress herself, was the first to share this intimate moment with the world. In a heartfelt tweet, she wrote, "My dad's last words to me were, 'I'm proud of you. I'll cherish them forever. He knew he had lost time with me. I am forever grateful for the time I did get.'" The message struck a chord with fans and followers alike, many of whom had watched Cassidy's turbulent journey unfold in the spotlight. His words sparked a wave of reflection and emotion. What did those final moments mean to David, to Katie, to a family caught between love, grief, and the fading shadow of a once bright legacy? Questions surfaced immediately. Were these words a gesture of reconciliation, a final reassurance, or simply the raw, vulnerable truth of a father's love that transcended decades of struggle? Psychologists suggest that final words often reveal what truly matters when everything else slips away. In Cassidy's case, it felt like a quiet, poignant victory. It was a moment of peace, an acknowledgement that despite all the pain and hardship, David Cassidy found some contentment in his role as a father. In an industry obsessed with image and perfection, his final words stripped away the Hollywood facade. They reminded the world of his humanity, a man who, beneath the stardom, wanted nothing more than to be seen, understood, and proud of those he loved. The last hours of his life were marked not only by physical suffering but by a profound emotional reckoning. Friends and family describe a frail man, worn down by years of addiction and illness, yet still carrying that spark that had endeared him to millions. Hospital staff recalled moments when Cassidy, despite his condition, was lucid and present. He asked for music from his heyday, quietly humming Partridge Family tunes, bittersweet echoes of better times. He smiled when reminded of his fans, grateful for the love that had carried him through his darkest days. But the toll on his health was undeniable. His liver was failing, his kidneys on the brink of collapse. Doctors were candid: no transplant was possible, and his body was succumbing to the damage of years of alcohol abuse. During those final hours, family and close friends gathered by his bedside. Katie Cassidy was there, along with his other children and close loved ones. The atmosphere was heavy, filled with sorrow, love, and words left unspoken. Sources close to the family say Cassidy showed moments of clarity, sometimes squeezing hands, other times speaking softly. It was during one of these lucid moments that he spoke his final message: "I'm proud of you," to Katie, a phrase she called the most precious gift she ever received. Those last hours meant more than just physical decline. They revealed a man grappling with his mortality, coming to terms with the legacy he would leave behind. It was a time for forgiveness, of himself and others. Some believe Cassidy's last words were part of a deeper, personal reconciliation, a way to mend fractures caused by years of struggle. Others see in his quiet dignity a refusal to be defined solely by hardship. His final hours stand as a testament to resilience, a reminder that even in decline, the human spirit craves connection and affirmation. As the world mourned the loss of a beloved icon, those moments became a poignant focus for fans and family alike, a solemn yet hopeful coda to a life lived with intensity, passion, and ultimately, a longing for peace. Katie Cassidy's relationship with her father was, at best, complicated, a tapestry woven with distance, missed moments, and silent hopes. Despite sharing the bloodline of one of pop culture's most enduring icons, Katie's childhood largely unfolded apart from David Cassidy's spotlight. Their worlds rarely crossed beyond brief encounters, leaving a gap that neither fame nor fortune could fill. When David Cassidy died in 2017, Katie was 31, a successful actress carving her own path in Hollywood. Yet amid the flood of headlines and public mourning, Katie's response was quietly dignified. She chose not to make grand public statements. Instead, she honored her father in a deeply personal way, through the simple, profound words he left her, "I'm proud of you." In the days after his death, that phrase echoed through interviews and social media, but for Katie, it became a guiding light. It wasn't just a message of paternal pride, it was a bridge across years of emotional distance. In many ways, it offered closure where words had once failed. Years later, in April 2025, what would have been David's 75th birthday, Katie's tribute was humble yet powerful. Though displaced by a devastating wildfire in the Pacific Palisades, she found a quiet moment amid the chaos to light a candle in his memory. This act of remembrance, carried out in uncertain circumstances, revealed the layers of love and loss she carried. "I celebrate him quietly," she said in a rare statement. "I think about those final words often." Her tribute highlighted a broader truth, the unseen cost of fame, not just for the star but for those left navigating the shadows of their legacy. Katie's journey has been one of forging her own path while holding on to fragments of a father she barely knew but deeply respected. The suspense in this chapter lies in the silent spaces between public perception and private reality, the daughter who inherited a complicated legacy and ultimately chose forgiveness over resentment, remembrance over regret. David Cassidy's life is more than a pop culture story. It's a profoundly human tale of triumph and tragedy, hope and heartbreak. Behind the dazzling lights, adoring crowds, and platinum records was a man wrestling with demons that fame only magnified. The intoxicating lure of stardom came at a steep price. Loneliness crept into the quiet corners of his world where applause once rang. Addiction, the merciless enemy, eroded his health and relationships. And the yearning for real connection, unfiltered love, and acceptance often seemed just out of reach. Cassidy himself spoke openly in later interviews about the emptiness success could bring, the fragile happiness built on public adoration, and the heavy cost of maintaining a persona adored by millions but truly understood by few. "I tried to make amends where I could," he said in one rare, heartfelt interview. "The fame, it's like a double-edged sword. It can lift you up, but it can also cut deep." Yet even with that wisdom, the full depth of his struggle only became clear in his final hours. His last words, "I'm proud of you," those words carry a haunting resonance, not just as a message to his daughter, but as a final truth about David Cassidy's deep yearning for connection and acceptance. In the end, his story stands as a stark reminder. Fame can light a path, but it also casts the longest shadows. The man who brought joy to millions carried wounds invisible to his fans, wounds that fame could never heal. While many were touched by the sweetness of that message to his daughter, others couldn't help but focus on the latter part of his final words, "So much wasted time." Those words haunt the silence left after his last breath. They resonate not only as a personal lament but as a universal reckoning. It's a sharp reminder of how fleeting life truly is, and how easily moments slip away, unspoken, undone, unlived. For many, hearing this from someone on their deathbed was a hard truth to face. Laden with regret, it was a harsh wake-up call to anyone squandering their time while life was still full of possibility. The phrase lingers, cutting deep into anyone who's ever hesitated, whether to reach out to a loved one, confess a hidden feeling, or chase a dream long deferred. Cassidy's last words have quietly become a rallying cry for the living, a call to stop letting time slip through our fingers like grains of sand. He was the teen idol who once sang the unforgettable anthem, "I Think I Love You," capturing the innocent, hopeful spirit of youth. But in his final hours, Cassidy's tune changed, from love songs to a sobering meditation on mortality, regret, and the silent cost of wasted opportunities. Behind the curtain of fame, beneath the bright smiles and endless applause, was a man wrestling with what truly mattered: time lost, words unsaid, and moments that would never return. His message is a haunting gift, a chance for those who listen to rewrite their own story before the final act. In this light, Cassidy's parting words are more than a farewell. They hold up a mirror to all of us. They urge us to ask ourselves, are we living fully? Are we expressing love freely? Are we daring to take the leaps we fear? His final message challenges us to break free from the paralysis of regret and embrace life's fragile urgency. As fans and observers continue to reflect on his legacy, many find themselves changed, moved to reach out, to forgive, and to cherish what remains. So much wasted time is no longer just a sorrowful phrase. It's a profound lesson etched into the heart of a man whose star shone bright, but whose humanity shines even brighter. On November 21, 2017, the world lost David Cassidy, not with the roaring applause of a sold-out arena, but in the hushed stillness of a hospital room. The final curtain fell quietly, but the truth he left behind echoes loudly through memory and history. In those last moments, stripped of fame and spectacle, Cassidy's true performance emerged. Raw, unfiltered, and deeply human. No rehearsed lines, no staged smiles. Just a man confronting mortality, sharing a message that transcended years of stardom. For many, this truth was hard to stomach. No one likes to confront their own mortality, let alone witness someone else facing it so openly. David Cassidy left us not with a chart-topping hit or a sparkling award, but with a solemn, unforgettable warning. Time is precious, fleeting, and unforgiving. His words, "I'm proud of you," and his reflective admission, "so much wasted time," carry the weight of a lifetime's lessons, distilled into a final plea. This ending wasn't about glitz or legacy built on a public stage. It was about truth, about what remains when the spotlight fades, and all that's left is the echo of our choices, our relationships, and our regrets. For fans, loved ones, and even strangers, Cassidy's last moments offer a chance for reckoning, a call to look inward and embrace life with honesty and urgency. In that quiet hospital room, he delivered his greatest performance, a reminder that beneath the veneer of fame, we all share the same fragile humanity. The final curtain closed, but David Cassidy's message lives on, a haunting, heartfelt call to live fully, love openly, and waste no more time. David Cassidy's death marked the end of an era, but his final words sparked something unexpected, a widespread reflection on the preciousness of time and the cost of regret. So much wasted time, he whispered in those final moments, a phrase that has since echoed far beyond his closest circle. From that phrase, shared across social media, have blossomed stories of hope. A mother who finally reconciled with her estranged son, a young adult who finally chased their dreams, and countless others pausing to ask themselves what they've been putting off. Cassidy's final message has shifted from a personal lament to a universal call, a call to say I love you, to find the courage to forgive, and to seize the fleeting moments before they slip away. Through online movements and inspirational talks, his last words continue to remind us all that no one is immune to the silent regrets time can bring. His voice, once the soundtrack of youthful love and hope, now stands as a solemn call to live honestly and fully. In this way, Cassidy's legacy is evolving. He leaves behind more than music and fame. He leaves a profound lesson about life itself. And in doing so, he has ensured his final curtain call is one that continues to inspire and move the living. So, how do you feel about his final message? Does it resonate with you, given his life story and struggles? Why or why not? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.